Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is our Grand Arena, the final match of Week 1, Season 41. So we are a little late putting this one up. You can thank the landscapers and the leaf blower for that one. We could only just record the footage. Couldn't do the voiceover live, do the banter then. So we had to re-record, but then life happens and the Cal Kestis kit reveal happened. So that became the priority. But that means this video will go a little bit faster. So that is 1 plus. For this Grand Arena bracket, we're actually recording over old footage to capture who my opponent was because I didn't have a chance to record the old bracket before it was expired and replaced by week 2. So keep in mind that my opponent here is Annunciel, the second from the right. Now what we see here, in terms of Zetas, not too far behind Omicrons. He has 3 fewer. Not a problem, but starting to get in that zone where maybe that's a little light. I even feel like my roster at 17 could use a couple more, although we haven't had any no-brainer Omicrons since Seer Junda. Although I wonder about Saw Gerrera's a lot lately. I think it will be more effective at relics, so I haven't tested it, but I wonder if it would be enough to elevate some lower gear ones. Now obviously that's not a good team. The Captain Rex one though, that does look like an Omicron worth testing. I haven't put it on though because I do want to test it out in week 2 without the Omicron, see how he functions, since he already functions so well in Squad Arena. I want to get that low gear testing done. Now with the relic levels, he's at 152. That's not in a zone where I'm worried about things. It might be even a little light these days. I'm obviously too light, but it's something I'm looking to rectify. He's a 7 GL player, and with the gear 11 plus units at 187, that I think's getting into a zone where that's a little light for Kyber 2 these days. Just because after a couple holds, you're probably a little too shallow to really absorb too many failed attempts. Whereas a roster like mine, I can kind of grind out wins by just throwing teams at a defense. With the relic distribution here, you can see that he's in a zone where I'm not too worried about it. You can see with the tier 5, he's got 60 tier 5 relics, 44 tier 7 to my 30. This is a zone where this is not too dissimilar from my own roster, whereas an opponent like Athos, that guy has a pretty terrifying roster where I think he should actually probably be a Kyber 1 player. There's probably participation questions within his Grand Arena play. With the mods, he's got solid mods, both in counts and overall quality, although a little shallower in the top 500, but I think his averages are brought down a little. That might be more, and I think we'll see this in the distribution of his mods. I think could be improved, but his counts aren't that bad. With the Datacrons, he's participating. He's got one of the better Datacron sets of the bracket. A little lighter than me, but my numbers are inflated. I can actually use a lot of those level 9 crons that I have. I'm more preparing it for them in advance. Again, with the Galactic Legends, he's a 7 GL player, but you get an idea of the relic levels and the modding, which is solid overall. Key characters and the Omicrons, his Malgus is at relic 7, 2 Omicrons, his Raddus, no Iden and no Omicron, even though that Iden right there is completely usable. That is an Omicron that you can put on at really any level because all that matters are the other stormtroopers. Iden herself is less important. Starkiller, a little weak at relic 5, but I think when you're 7 GL player, you're not relying on the Starkiller counter as much, so they probably feels like it's less important. No Dash Ami, a weaker Wampa at relic 5. He does have the Traya and SWGOH Amis, which is fortunately starting to be becoming the standard, although still less common than I think that they should be. The no Aphra here, Qui-Gon and his Swolo has 3 Amis. And we'll skip ahead a moment. Here's a look at some of the major characters and conquest characters. They look all fine. And the primary ships, he's got 7 stars on everything. You can see I'm still at 6 stars on the Profundity. I'll probably do that final refresh and bring it to 7 stars at the end of this month. Now we'll take a look at the quality of his modding. because it's not just how many that matters, it's how he's applying them. So we'd like to look at the number of 300 speed characters just to get, it's a good shorthand, and he's surprisingly shallow. His 8th brother is the last one. He only has 20 characters. And I think that was a little reflected when we saw that top 500 mods was a little lower than mine. That's where it's coming from. With the defense here, he attacked first. You can see he did not get the full clear, and it's because my defense did awesome. We got 2 holds from several squads here. You can see my Qui-Gon got a hold, my Malgus has got a hold, and my Trench has got a hold. So that is a great performance by my front wall. Over on the top territory, you can see we pick up another hold from my Mon Mothma. That's probably because he got a little compromised by losing some ideal teams. And then 2 holds from my Tusken Warrior, Chieftain, and Raider Ami squad. That team going down in 3 battles. Now the back territory, he stalls out. We'll take a look at ships first, because he cleared it. The negotiator here getting a hold, profundity goes down in 1. And with the back wall, this back territory here, Maul takes a hold. He has not attacked the other battles, and Finn Zori getting me a hold. This is a great performance by my defense. That pretty much is going to secure the win, especially if I can get a full clear. But even if I don't get a full clear, probably win. Now with his defense, we are looking at Raddus, Qui-Gon, Bam, Finn, and Jabba. And no Curzanton with that Jabba, which will make things a little bit easier. And down below, we are looking at Swolo, Starkiller, Malgus, Traya, and Nute. Now this is actually a really tough defense. And when I prepared for this on the Twitch stream, we did a Saturday night Twitch stream to prepare for this Grand Arena. And during it, I felt pretty confident I was not going to clear it, because I also know that his back wall is going to have Lord Vader. But I have a pretty effective plan for this thing. I feel pretty confident about it. Obviously, now I know how this match turned out. But even going into it, I felt pretty good because of just how many banners that my defense is going to allow me. Now, Gas going up against this Malgus squad. This is risky, partly because of the relic levels on Darth Revan and Bastila Shan Fallen. They are higher relics, and they are the characters that I'm most worried about in a Malgus battle. Like the other versions that you'll find, like with Malik or with some of the other Sith Empire characters, they don't matter. It's Fallen and Revan. And now that we've seen Jedi Knight Cal Kestis' kit, I'm not going to be surprised if Jedi Knight Cal Kestis becomes my dedicated Malgus counter. Also, it's not going to be Sith Eternal Emperor, because that's probably going to be my Reva counter, my third sister counter. So I think Cal Kestis is coming along at a perfect time. Now with Rey here, this is just, I've talked about this before. Like, we're obviously going to use my Starkiller, but it's why I feel a little more ambivalent about the Mara Jade Kron, because yeah, it's a good Kron, it's very powerful. But I can't afford to use my Starkiller against anything else. And they were going to win this battle without the crown regardless. So I go with AoE to get some stuns, get some debuffs. Throw more debuffs around to make sure we get some more turn meter. Calling for the assists. Damage immunity is triggered, so now we go after Solo. Triggered it there. This is going really well, going really fast. I want to get a stun on Swolo so he doesn't get a chance to do any big damage. And just getting turn meter going, hitting some staggers, and making sure that we get to Unleashed. So going with those basics from Palpatine. And we get rid of Rey and Solo quick and early. Now we just got to work on Dash, who unfortunately has some crazy mastery. which looks worrisome, but we do have that ability there, which is unavailable. So it's going to take some work, but eventually we'll be able to manage that situation. I was worried about it though. And I think I should have timed that differently, because it would have been nice to have that stun on, because we could have attacked him while he was stunned. So had I applied the stun when he didn't have full turn meter, we would have been able to actually do some decent work. But this is the first time I've gone up against this version here. Although I have gone up against versions with JTR where the mastery's gone crazy with the evasion, where it would also apply. But right there, that'll do it. So dash made it more annoying, but not any harder. Just longer. So at this point, I just want to double check how I want to go things, because I have a strategy, but I am concerned about that Traya, because that Traya does affect how I can do certain things. We're going to do JMK up against Jabba first, though, because we only have one way to approach Jabba right now. Well, that's not true. We have multiple ways to approach Jabba, because we did that in, I think, match 41.1.1, where we used Traya to take out Curzanton, and then we broke down the Bosch, and then I cleaned up with Aphra. So Jabba is actually one we can pick apart in desperation circumstances. But without Curzanton and that revive, this is just much faster work. This is easy work. Get those armor shreds on, just working towards the full charge on the ultimate. Now we get it. Land the healing immunity. And I think he's going to be gone here. Yeah. Now for these next battles, because the issue I have is, do I use Aphra up against the Raddus squad? Where do I use my own Traya? Just double checking the Nute and the Datacrons and trying to figure out if I need to be careful with it or not. But we're gonna do Traya, and we're gonna attempt Troopers up against Traya, which I think has like a 75% win rate, which is good enough to give it a shot. And something I wouldn't have done before because I didn't have relics on my Veers, but now I am in the process of farming tickets for Sith Eternal Emperor, so I have a relic Veers now. So we give it a shot, because it will make my life easier if it wins. And we're going to go after Traya because she's going to be the easiest one to take out. Because otherwise, there's enough synergy between Nihilus and Scion where they get a lot of stat boosts. So I didn't want to mess with that. But you can see how effective even a Relic 3 Dark... I should have hit Nihilus, but I wasn't paying attention. You can see how effective a Relic 3 Dark Trooper already is. I'd love to get him higher, but he's just awesome at any level. Well, really, at Gear 12 is where he starts doing a lot of things. I had him at Gear 12 forever. Years, and he was great. It was because I liked showcasing how powerful Gear 11 troopers were with a Gear 12 Dark Trooper. I just refused to add gear to them just so I could showcase that all the time. Now, with we're doing JML up against Starkiller because we don't really have a choice about it. I'm trying to remember if things changed this match or not. But we Jedi Knight Revan and Mark Palpatine. And this is pretty straightforward. I do want to tweak some mods. Like this could have been more effective. Because this Palpatine stuck around for a while and gave Starkiller a good amount of progress towards Unleashed, which was a little nerve-wracking. It ceases to be an issue after Palpatine's gone, but things were going favorably for them. The rest is easy from here. But it does compromise a lot of choices, and that's what, we did JMK, Rey, so that's 2 GLs so far, right? No, Jabba, we did JMK up against Jabba, that's what I meant to say. Alright, now we're doing Jabba up against Malgus because my gas didn't work, which messed up some of the strategy here. So I don't really have another option up against Malgus. Like, if I got down to a solo Malgus, we've got options. But I also know I have to keep my Fennec for the back wall. Even though that's not going to work because he has Maul with his Lord Vader. I still want to give it a shot. Plus my Bosk is on defense anyway, so you need Bosk for the bounty hunter counter. But Jabba will make quick work of this. And this is good that I didn't put him back on defense. And this is why I don't split up my Malgus from my Darth Revan and Bastila Fallen. Very effective together. And I liked being able to do a Malak solo in 3v3. But this is taking a little long, but never in question. We'll always be able to Rancor a Malak or Malgus. There we go. Now for Nute, this one, I'm sure this is probably what I ended up doing, but I think I wanted to keep Jedi Knight Luke for the back wall. Because I'm expecting First Order, but it's not a big deal. I know Jedi Knight Luke gets us through it. And sometimes just doing something you know that is going to work without an issue is better. Because especially for you long-time viewers, you know how stubborn I could get about like a weak team on a front wall where I just would refuse to use something strong and then always drop battles because of that. Things I work on. And from here, we should be done. Oh, the revive, that's right. I thought we did it already. There we go. Now for the back wall, all I remember back there is Lord Vader. Okay, that's right, Grand Inquisitor. This is why I was worried about the Traya, or not the Traya, about the Raddus, because I need to Traya either the Grand Inquisitor or Raddus, and I don't really know how we want to play it. Because Aphra I also want to keep, because Aphra can clean up a Lord Vader. She can't beat him right now without crons, but she can clean him up. And this is why I prepared for this. This is what the prep work does. I knew, just I gotta sneeze. Because of the prep work, I knew Grand Inquisitor was going to be there. So the change that I did make was taking Raddus off of defense, bringing him to offense so that I would have him as my Grand Inquisitor counter. I forgot that I did this, actually. I think I could have played things a little bit differently, or maybe some mod changes, but it's not really an issue because they're targeting Jin, and that's a mistake because she can't die before Raddus. This is going to take a while. We need to get to 100% of the download or the upload. But we'll eventually get there. And it's really about the AoEs. The AoE abilities are what is going to ultimately win this for us. Which is why I went to the AoE ability before the assist. Land the healing immunities, get our revive. And then we get, I'm just clearing the foresights. Or no, I'm not. Okay. Clear the foresights with the AoE, then I had the basic from Raddus to finish him off. Now we just got 7th Sister, Shigon. Alright. So that deals with that issue. Now we got Bosk, that was the other team. The team that's cut off there with the Tusken, that's Sign of Django and the Chieftain Army. So with that team there, Traya is one of the better counters, and that was the other team that was kind of challenging. How do I handle all these squads? How do I deal with that Omicron? Where's my Traya going to be used? So I use 5th Brother here. This might be a mistake. Because I think I still have Grand Inquisitor. Yeah, I do. I should have just used Grand Inquisitor. It's just I kind of got into the habit of using 5th Brother for this counter. It's risky, but it can work. I think it didn't work this time. Maybe it worked. Or maybe it kind of worked. Because we just don't have good Datacrons paired with it anymore. Yeah, so we're at a point where it's going to kind of work. I'm remembering this battle now, yeah. So this cam is ultimately going to beat me, but it kind of worked. We got rid of the 2 big problems. We can clean that up with anything though at this point. No, I don't think I attack Finn right now. Or do I? Yeah, Vader would be fine. I just know I deliberated on it. I just don't know how much I did while recording the footage or not. And apparently I did most of it off record. But this is going to be strong and effective. And from here we'll chuck it. Vader's just great in 3v3. Vader's my favorite Tusken Raider Omicron counter because it's fairly cheap. Because some of the other counters you kind of would rather use up against other squads. Now it's time to start picking apart some of these other teams. Just trying to decide where I want to use each of the counters. Wampa's useless up against Lord Vader, so we're not trying to save him for any miracles. Just keep it easy and straightforward. Take out the Mon Mothma squad with the Wamps. You can see there's a number of little things that my opponent does that makes things a little less ideal, like his Raddus squad being, or not even the Raddus, the Jabba squad being Lando and Bosch. Things like that, making things a little bit easier. Where Cara Dune would still be better. Like, I have a Gear 11 Cara Dune. That's better than Bismuth because Cara Dune she can't die. Or at least annoying to get rid of. This is going to be quick and easy. Swolo is just going to blow people up. We're going to take out the Omicron first. Boom. Love Swolo. If there's anything that I emphasize a lot on this channel these days is just how even if you don't have Rey, Swolo's not useless. He's great. He's great with JTR. And especially in 3v3. He's awesome in 3v3. Really need to make a video on it. Alright, this BAM squad, what did I do? Hondo. We Hondoed it. I want to add relic levels to Hondo. He's a ton of fun. He's awesome at Relic 5, but I just want to push the limit of what you can do. There's no room to do it right now with all the projects going on. CG is keeping us busy. So this gets a little annoying. It doesn't really be... There's no issue with these characters dying off. They're supposed to. That's why I brought in weak characters to begin with. As they die off, it makes Hondo more effective. We just have to wait for the stacks of ransom to get higher. Because he's gaining stats all the time. That gets a little scary though, the healing immunity landing like that, but once it's gone and we survived it, you can see we're fine. There's so much recovery. And now we're at 50 stacks. We're just very easily and capable of one-shotting characters and taking them out quick. Not quite one-shotting IG-11 though. But we'll take out Bam first. Because Bam is a nuisance himself with that damage immunity. I think I used a new character. I think we were about to do this, and then I realized I could do something else. Or did we do it? That's what happened. I wanted to do Wookiees. Remembered I threw Tarful on defense, who shouldn't be there, but I needed filler. Or he should be there if you have relics. He's... Yeah, at gear 11, it's not there yet. Especially not without relics on Vandor. And there we go. Let's move on. Now I believe we still have Aphra and Traya. But I think we just we're just gonna Aphra it. Maybe I did use the Traya. We're gonna just Aphra it because I know my Fennec is not gonna be successful up against that Maul, and without making any progress towards that Lord Vader, there's no need to save Aphra. Yeah, but this is why I like having Raddus on defense is he forces you to make choices. There's just a limited number of teams that can counter him, and the teams that can counter him are also teams that you'd like to use up against other squads. And challenging your opponents into making those kinds of choices, trying to force them into making a decision about where do you use that Traya. Those are the kinds of decisions that can help you win a match. Because that's ultimately what I have to do is I'm not going to waste... I know this is going to come down to who can clear more teams more efficiently. So I go with Aphra for the one-shot attempt instead of messing around and seeing if I can wear the teams down. Because I've basically conceded that I'm not beating that Lord Vader. So that means my Traya is going to be used here up against this squad. Although, a little... Or is there no Omicron there? I think I just assumed the Omicron was there. Because why... I didn't need to use my Traya. Also, you can't have Raider on this squad. Well, I guess you technically can, since the Raider also doesn't have the Ami. But the Chieftain Ami doesn't work if Raider has the Ami. I think he put Raider there because of the relics, but Sign of Django shouldn't be there if you don't have the Omicron. So this is just it's something that doesn't make sense. Although, maybe I'll put this Omicron on and just kind of see what happens with my Sign of Django. But I only have a Gear 12 Django. I wonder what would happen. I wonder if they could do something. Maybe we'll do that for week 3. Because it's too late for week 2 now. Yeah, but this was overkill. I did not need to be concerned with this team for multiple reasons. Definitely could have played it differently. No, I think we just sacrificed. I'm trying to remember when I did the Fennec battle. Do we go Fleet first or Fennec first? I think we did Fleet first. We got Executor, Malevolence, Negotiator. That is not a kind of defense I think needs. I don't think you can afford to put Malevolence on defense. It's too important of a counter to everything else. Okay, so we start with Chimera. I shouldn't have put the Defender there. It's not going to matter ultimately, but I shouldn't have put the Defender there. Because it's not needed. I don't even think I call it out. Because this is just such a strong and decisive counter. Yeah. I'm just avoiding Ahsoka because I don't want to give her retribution. I just decided to act like I didn't have Defender, just to play it out. And there we go. Boom. Because what's going to happen with one of these, I have to use Scythe in one of these battles, and so in that kind of situation, Defender would have been valuable. No, I'm just doing a sacrifice fleet. We haven't done too much testing with the Sith fleet. I did it once, but because I have to resort to sacrificing up against the Executor, because my other fleets, like the Finalizer, I don't have relics on the pilots, so it doesn't work. So this is my most effective counter to the Executor, just sacrificing and then bringing in the Malevolence. But because of the teams I throw on defense, because I've got the Executor and the Profundity both on defense, I have some limited options when it comes to my offense. Now, we've been improving at it. We've been fine-tuning things. But there's a lot of RNG with this strategy, although I think we're getting to a point where we're winning more than we're losing. Clear the Foresights, AoE, land the Buzz Droids. I'm targeting Bosk because I want the Buzz Droid to turn into 3. I didn't want to feed it turn meter because I knew we were going to be able to bring out Spy, and I wanted to mark who I wanted to mark. So we take out Cad Bane. Now we rip out IG-2000. They're feeding us turn meter. Now we hit the Razor Crest. They give me more turn meter. We bring out the Ebon Hawk, get all that chaff. We land the buff immunity, so now I can go and hit Razor Crest without issue. And now I think we need to wait for the ultimate, but we'll get there in a minute. There we go. Going after Houndstooth because it would just get turn meter otherwise. And there we go. After I finish this record, I got to go right into the next match, the current match, which is the first match of week 2. So now here with Scythe. So yeah, well, I guess maybe I should have said this at the top. I was playing, I think, near the end of Grand Arena, and there were landscapers doing work. So there's like leaf blowers and stuff going. So I recorded this match. I just recorded the footage. I couldn't record audio simultaneously, which is why we're doing it now, and we had to wait a few days before I could record. But we go up against the Malevolence here with Scythe, which is solid enough, but I could have made it better. My only concern is, like, you can see how important Sith Bomber was here. Like, even though it goes down, it did buy a lot of time. And I worry with the Leviathan coming. Well, I guess with the Leviathan coming, it's going to just change up the entire fleet strategy. So maybe it's not even a thought worth considering. But we're not going to have a tank here anymore, because there's only one Empire tank, and really we're at a point where we should have 2 Empire tanks. But we're focusing down on Hyena Bomber. See, Defender would be great at this point. We bring out the Defender, we get a little bit of turn meter, we get some other stuff. We don't really need it, but Defender would have made quick work out of a lot of this. So we got to figure out, yeah, that was the correct Vulture Droid. But now we got to deal with this stealth situation. I want to be careful because I don't want to feed turn meter to the Malevolence. So I'm not trying to take out any of these Vulture Droids. We're just hitting whoever has protection. That's the target. And there we go. I think we're going to do a Grand Arena history recap. We're going to do one more battle here. We'll show Fennec against Lord Vader, but there's just no shot with Maul. Especially when I don't have relics on a lot of these characters. Yeah. But it's fine because my defense did so much work. I didn't need to clear. You can see how much better I did with the banners. 665 to 1434. That is a pretty strong win. Pretty happy with it. Let's transition into looking at the Grand Arena history, because we just want to quickly assess how my defense performed, just to get some clues about what's working, what's not working. Like, the team is drawing out Galactic Legends. That's a win. Qui-Gon goes down to Grand Inquisitor. Starkiller fails up against Malgus. This guy barely attacked. That was a default win. Round 2 was the match I couldn't participate in fully. I just did some testing with my attacks. I was light on time. And then here with my opponent, he had little issue clearing me. But Bad Batch do go down to Trench. Finalizer failing to the Executor, but he did make a ton of progress. An easy cleanup. Fennec losing to Iden and then cleaning that up. Now with the final round, with this current match that you just watched, This is how Annunciel did up against my defense. Relic Bad Batch falling to my Qui-Gon, which includes a Gear 11 cam. That's a great result. Use C to take out Malgus. Wampa the Grievous, which I think is a strategic error. That's a very expensive counter to a squad that has plenty of cheap things that can beat it. Like, I would just throw in like Shock T. JKR taking out Dash. Troopers falling to Trench. Trench just always tripping up opponents. Really liking this grind, especially in 3v3, because it's much harder to take out in 3v3. And you will see opponents in the history showing Wampa being very successful. That's only in the Django versions. You should in 3v3 you should be using Dooku, not Django. JMK the CLS, that's also a really expensive use of a JMK. There's other, like, you can Savage solo a CLS. SLKR to clean up the trench. Vader cleanup, that's a really expensive cleanup for Gear 11 Ki-Adi Mundi. Malik solo failing up against Mon Mothma. CLS the Sana, that's a win, because Sana is no good. At least my Sana is no good. So for that to absorb a CLS is great. Hihan and Chewied the Bosk. Tried to JTR my Chieftain Raider squad. Tried to Padme it. This is not going to work because you need AoEs to beat the Raider on me. And so these are primarily single target characters. Ultimately JML'd it. Emboed the Mon Mothma in the second attempt. Did fine with fleet. He tried to Savage solo the Finn. That's really solid, but it's only a Gear 12 Savage, but still, it's a great result. Tried to Generate Luke the Maul, and that is probably the best performance of my Maul with Django Grun. His Chimera falling to the Negotiator is a bit of a surprise. And there you go. Solid win. We are going to move into recording the week 2 battle. This one we'll at least be able to record with live footage, and we would turn around faster. This one we got out sooner, but yesterday we had to do the Jedi Knight Cal Kestis kit reveal. So if you haven't seen that, check out that video. Really excited about that character, although I won't be able to unlock him until the second time around. I am still farming those characters. This is a free-to-play channel, but thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other, everyone. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.